All right, Sports Mashup number 111, May 17th, 2023 is the date of today, and we begin in the NBA.
And of course, the Spurs win the NBA draft lottery and the right to take French center Victor Wembanyama. Is that how you say that?
I don't even. People say Wembanyama. People say Wembanyama. People say. People say Wembanyama. So I don't know. But I will say this. It's not surprising that the Spurs won it, given just the. I think this is the best for the league. If the Spurs went out of the five teams that could have that were in the top five, and I think the same was in the NHL with the Blackhawks. But from a convenience standpoint, I think it's great for the NBA. The Spurs took Tim Duncan number one. They took David Robinson number one. Both of those worked out.
And Pop gets a talented center to work with.
Yeah,
he's used to foreign talent.
You can tank as much as you want, and they're not going to punish you because the Spurs. I mean, come on, the Spurs tanking was so obvious, and whatever. I mean, I think a lot of teams do it, but it was the same with the Anaheim Ducks tanking was obvious. So Spurs get rewarded here, and be curious to see how the rest of 2 through 5 work out. I think, despite the fact that the Hornets, who are number 2,
Hornets got the 2 pick. You wonder what their needs are.
I don't even think you worry about needs here. I know they have LaMelo Ball. You just got to take Scoot Henderson, the point guard. That's so obvious because he would be number 1 in most years, and you just figure it out. Because remember what the Kings did? They took De'Aaron Fox, or they had De'Aaron Fox, and they took Tyrese Halliburton anyway because he's the best player there. In the first round a couple years ago, and it worked out fine. They traded Halliburton to get Sabonis. That's fine.
Yeah, plus I could see LaMelo Ball playing better at the 2.
And I could also see LaMelo Ball wanting out in a couple of years. So Scoot Henderson projects to be a better player in terms of ceiling.
Then the Blazers at 3.
I think you just go Brandon Miller there, and if I could also see them trading this pick.
Rockets at 4.
Yeah, I think this might be where one of the Thompson twins goes. Amen Thompson would probably be the pick there. A G League.
They're a young team.
Yeah, and they might be trading Jalen Green this summer. I know there's rumors about that. Are they going to bring back James Harden? A lot of rumors there. But Amen Thompson, 6'7" point guard, could play the 3 as well. I think he would be the pick at 4.
And the Pistons get the 5th pick.
Yeah, I thought the Pistons would have been a fun number 1 pick here. I know they already have Jalen Duren, who's a stud at the 5, but getting Wembanyama with Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey would have been fun. But I think if you're the Pistons now, you'd probably take Cam Whitmore or Jarace Walker. Whitmore, the forward from Villanova, Walker, the forward from Houston. So it'd be very interesting to see how this plays out. But the Hornets would be very stupid to not take Scoot Henderson, in my opinion. You take the best player available, especially since he would have been the number 1 pick in most years. Wembanyama would have been the number 1 pick every year, with the exception of like maybe the LeBron draft. But who knows how we would have viewed that back then. But Scoot Henderson, easily the second best player in this draft. I would not understand them taking anybody but him at 2.
Yeah, the LeBron would have been hard just because it was Cleveland. He was from the area.
Yeah.
They had seen so much tape on him.
Yeah, but in terms of like the last 15 drafts, Victor Wembanyama would have been number 1 in every single one. Scoot Henderson would have been number 1 in most of them as well. So I think the Hornets shouldn't make the stupid decision there. And I do think the Blazers there's a good chance the Blazers either take Brandon Miller or they trade the pick.
Which just still leaves Damian Lillard up there doing.
Well, there were rumors about them wanting to trade the pick to get somebody to help build a team around Damian Lillard. I just don't know who. Like, would the Bulls be interested in that? Like, the Bulls give up Levine or DeRozan? Draft Brandon Miller.
Like they're making a playoff push now, and they were out without Lonzo Ball.
Well, Vucevic is going to be gone. I think you got to hit a little bit of a. If I'm the Bulls, I'm hitting a little bit of a reset with keeping one of Levine or DeRozan.
Well, that, or if you're the Blazers, you just trade out of that, and then you sign Vucevic and some other guys.
Well, they already have Nurkic. If they keep Nurkic, so I could see them also trading for DeAndre Ayton. I could see that being a possibility. Not with this pick, obviously, because he's not worth anywhere near that. But hey, if the Blazers want to talk, they can call me. I'd gladly take the number 3 pick for DeAndre Ayton, like if they're that stupid, but they're not. So, yeah, I think Lillard Levine backcourt would be interesting. They do have Shaden Sharp there as well already, so be curious to see how this shakes out. But elsewhere in the NBA, no surprise here. After the Sixers lost in the second round, Game 7 to the Celtics, they fired Doc Rivers. I mean, Doc Rivers. I don't think Doc Rivers is. I think he's a very overrated coach. And
I saw a picture. I didn't take it, a screenshot of it or whatever, but it was how many times they were up like 3-1 in a series and lost with him as the coach.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's no reason in that team with Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, and those guys, Matt Barnes and JJ Redick, should have not won that championship.
The way they played, yeah, I would have thought that they would be really hard to
combat. In that Game 7, Jason Tatum breaks Steph Curry's NBA playoff Game 7 record with 51 points.
Yeah, he came to play. A lot of questions about him. Was really bad in the first 3 quarters of Game 6, then really turned it on in the fourth to keep them alive, and then he just dominated.
And then I forgot to mention this last week, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson have each made 253 pointers in the same season for the 3rd time in their career. No other duo has ever done this in NBA history. And that was without Steph. With Steph missing games and Klay missing games, they still each made 250.
That was with Klay almost missing 2 seasons. I think he missed 2 seasons.
Well, I'm sure that's why this is only the 3rd time.
Yeah. The Suns also fired Monty Williams, and I've seen a lot online about how Monty got screwed. It's just like, here's the thing. Monty came in, elevated the franchise, made it a good place to play again, changed the culture, all that stuff. And I think Chris Paul is very responsible for that. I think Devin Booker as well, James Jones. But you can't get embarrassed in elimination games on your home floor 2 years in a row and get, like, you can't survive that as a coach. It's just the way the NBA is. Like, look at the 2020. Frank Vogel won a championship with the Lakers. Fired. 2021. Budenholzer wins with the Bucks. Fired. 2019. Nick Nurse with the Raptors. Fired. And the exception is Steve Kerr in all of this. And Ty Lue also got fired by Cleveland, but that was post-LeBron. The Suns need a change. I think this is for the best. There were some certain, Monty's a fantastic person and a good basketball coach, but I think it was the right time to move on. I don't think he did a very good job with this roster, although he was kind of trying to scramble with rotations because they made a league-changing trade in February. And it wasn't always about winning a championship this year. I think next year is the big year for that, but I think a lot of this is going to depend on who the Suns hire next. Because if they hire somebody like Mike Budenholzer, that's like a lateral move. If they hire somebody like Ty Lue, if they can pry him away from the Clippers like they're trying to, I think that'd be great. I think Nick Nurse would be great as well. But I think this is the right move.
The opposite of seeing speculation of Monty Williams going to the 76ers.
Yeah, I think there's a number of good options out there for him. But I think a good spot for him would be Detroit. But I don't think they're going to hire him.
Yeah, I've seen, I was on TNT with Shaq and Barkley and them. They were talking about how at first they were trying to take the passing lanes away from Joker, but Ayton was playing him soft, even like the free throw line, so then he was just easy jumper. But when he tried backing him down, Ayton was playing good defense. Joker made like a good reverse layup, but Ayton couldn't do anything about that. He kind of got screened on it. But other than that, he was playing pretty good defense on him.
Yeah. There was definitely issues with DeAndre Ayton and Monty Williams for the last 3 years since the finals. And I think Ayton's probably done in Phoenix as well. But he outlasted Monty Williams, which is interesting to me, kind of surprising. But I do think I don't think a team like the Sixers that's looking to win a championship is necessarily the right spot for Monty. I think a young team that's looking to get back into the mix, make the playoffs like Detroit would be a good spot for him, but I don't know.
Possibly New Orleans or the Magic.
Toronto, maybe.
Because the only thing we've heard from them is that they just interviewed Reddick, right?
Yeah. But if I had to guess, I actually have no idea who the Suns are going to hire, because if Ty Lue sticks around with the Clippers and doesn't get pried away, then I don't know where the Suns are going to go. I think Nick Nurse would be the obvious choice, but there's been some rumblings they're not going to be interested in Budenholzer or Nurse. But
Budenholzer was the guy from the Bucks, right?
yeah. I think with the way that he coaches, I think he's more of a lateral move.
What if Steve Nash comes back to Phoenix?
I love Steve Nash, but I do not want that at all. I don't think the Suns are going to be interested in a failed head coach in terms of just it didn't work for Nash in Brooklyn. I'm not sure Kevin Durant wants to play for Steve Nash again, if we're being honest.
Or is Jason Kidd available? Or is he in Dallas?
He's in Dallas. Yeah. It'll be interesting, though. A lot of interesting names out there in the NBA coaching carousel. And then John Morant does it again. Instagram Live, gun, once again. I mean, suspended by the Grizzlies. Don't know for how long. I think this is going to be the NBA stepping in and giving him a huge suspension, send a message, probably 40 games.
That was just
games.
this issue. Then there was an issue with his mom at finish line started arguing with the salesman. She called Ja. Him and 8 or 9 guys showed up. The guy was hiding in the storage room, and Ja was beating on the door for 40 minutes. Security exited him out. Then Ja said he would be there when that guy got off work.
Just a disaster of a year.
And then his mom was at his sister's volleyball or basketball game, and some girl was yelling at her. She called Ja. Him and the 8 or 9 guys showed back up.
Disaster.
But on to the playoffs. You got the Eastern Conference. I ended up the Heat beat the Knicks 4-2. The Celtics beat the 76ers 4-3. Eastern Conference final. You got Celtics versus Heat tonight, which, I mean, the line's 8.5, but the money line is minus 365 for the Celtics, plus 300 for the Heat. So I don't know what if you're betting on that, I don't know what you're taking.
Yeah, I think you throw a little bit on the Heat. You never know. Scrappy, come out in game 1 and get the win.
Yeah, you put a little bit on that plus 300.
Yeah. So in the second round of the West, you had the Nuggets beat the Suns in 6, Lakers beat the Warriors in 6, and the Nuggets should have won by about 20 last night, but it got real close to the end, but they beat the Lakers in game 1. I'd be a little bit concerned if I were a Nuggets fan.
Oh, and then there was a leaked storyline on how this playoff's going to win. It was the Celtics are winning 5, the Lakers winning 6, and then it goes to game 7 in the NBA Championship, and LeBron scores over 50 to win, and the Lakers win the NBA Championship.
I don't want any of that to happen.
Well, no, that was just the supposed leaked script.
Yeah, screw that. I hope that doesn't happen. It'd be kind of funny, though, if it actually did. Okay, on to the NFL. A couple off-season things here.
Yeah, you got ex-Falcon Colt quarterback Matt Ryan to join CBS as an analyst.
I think he did a little bit of that last year, if I remember correctly. So,
how did he do that last year when he was on the team?
I think it was in the playoffs.
Oh.
He did something with them. I remember Boomer Esiason talking about him.
And then so far you got 13 players from the XFL have signed with the NFL.
I'm sure more to come, I would assume.
Yeah, one was Ben DiNardo going to the Broncos, which I saw a quote, Sean Payton, the GM was down there, or the owner was down there and everything, and he threw a pick, and he said, if you keep throwing picks, that guy owns Walmarts all over the world, you might be able to get a job there.
Stern but fair.
And then the Pat McAfee show to join ESPN in the fall.
Yeah, I don't really know.
They said there's going to be an A block, a B block, a C block, and a D block. So I don't know how their thing's going to work or which block falls into ESPN. It's going to be after First Take and whatever.
This might ruin the Pat McAfee show as we know it.
But he still has full rights. Like ESPN's not trying to change anything or whatever.
That's what they tell you, but
I know.
Tell that to Big Cat and PFT Barstool Van Talk.
Yeah, but I think he's got a little more leverage than most do.
It's all about Disney, I think, in this, and also ESPN has a different CEO than they did then.
They're going to be on ESPN, ESPN Plus, and on the ESPN YouTube.
Yeah, well, I don't blame Pat for making this move.
No, I'm sure there's some moolah involved.
Yeah, and I think maybe he doesn't want to make all the decisions anymore. I think that's probably stressful.
Well, I think he said it was still nothing was changing.
Yeah, but like ESPN would make some of the different content.
He said they've got to work on not saying fuck as much.
Yeah, well, I wish that they could do that.
But then he said, but there was it opened the door during Jordan's
Last Dance, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, so I'm pretty sure we can say as many fucks as we want in our hour or whatever we're going to be on ESPN.
Is it ESPN or ESPN2?
ESPN.
So if I remember correctly, the Last Dance on ESPN2, they didn't censor the words, but on ESPN they did, if I remember correctly. But either way, I don't think
everything else, all the other words they've got okayed. They got to watch out on the fucks.
It's also a live broadcast too, so I think you can get away with a little bit more.
Yeah, it's going to be. They're still going to be in the Thunderdome.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go away from that. As fair. I don't even know. They probably haven't been in there for like a year, so you didn't want to do that for nothing.
Yeah, and then you'd have to move out to Connecticut.
Yeah, screw that.
With a newborn baby, and then everyone. Yeah, they're getting close to being back home in Pittsburgh for some of the guys, but
yeah. Peacock will exclusively carry NFL playoff game. That's not a surprise given the landscape of professional sports in America right now. Streaming is becoming.
Because who else has one? Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime has the NFL. They did a playoff game, didn't they?
Yeah. Or they did one random game or something.
Well, they do all Thursday night.
Yeah.
And obviously baseball has the Apple TV and the Peacock baseball games. I'm sure they'll have a playoff game soon enough. Give people less ability to watch baseball. Devontae Adams says he, quote, didn't need Rodgers to be all pro. I thought we saw that when he was playing with Brett Hundley when Rodgers got hurt in 2017. I feel like we saw that then. Maybe just he wasn't as established then.
I don't know. He's trying to make now he's upset with the offense, and he's not happy with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Maybe he should have stayed with the Packers, dude. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you should have seen what Jordan Love. You should have seen what Jordan Love had.
Well, Rodgers would still be here, I think, if Adams was here. I don't think last year would have gone as bad either, but maybe I'm wrong. But like 2018 when the Packers were bad and Rodgers was playing hurt and he missed a game and they had Deshaun Kaiser playing a little bit. Adams had 1,300 yards and 13 touchdowns.
Is he even still in the league?
Kaiser?
Yeah.
There's no way.
That he was at Notre Dame, right?
Yeah. 2017, when Rodgers was actually hurt and it was Brett Hundley, Adams missed a few games but still had 900 yards and 10 touchdowns. So I feel like people know now that he could be people already knew. Like anybody who approached last season as, oh, now we know he doesn't need Rodgers is a casual. They weren't paying attention to how good Devontae Adams is. So
out of those 13, there was like 2 players from the Broncos. Falcons had like 3, Saints had like 2. I think the Lions took a kicker. The Bucks took a defensive tackle or defensive end.
Yeah. All right, let's go to golf.
Last week you had the AT&T Byron Nelson. The winner was Jason Day, won $1.7 million, shot 23 under.
Yeah, first win for Jason Day in 5 years. So.
Though he did have some guys creep up on him late.
You can cross him off of the winning a major this week list. PGA Championship is this week. The defending champion Justin Thomas winning in a playoff over Will Zalatoris last year at Southern Hills. This year it is Oak Hill Country Club, the East Course, which has been restorated. There was a restoration project between now and the last time this tournament was at Oak Hill, which was 2013. It's a little bit better, I think, now. But Rochester, New York. Interested to see how this goes this week. I don't think it's as interesting of a venue as Southern Hills was last year, but I still think it's going to be
and you got
fun.
You got the live golfers in. You can use a rangefinder on this tournament because it's not ran by the PGA.
Yeah, I remember the Kiowa Island when Phil won 2 years ago. The usage of rangefinders, I remember that. 1991 champion John Daly withdraws from the PGA Championship. I remember last year he got up to a really hot start on Thursday at Southern Hills, but won't see him at all this year.
Yeah, I think the thing with him and these tournaments is him walking.
Yeah. All right. College hoops, couple things here.
Yeah, you got Duke's Johnny Dawkins and Coach K join Collegiate Hall of Fame.
Well, I'm not surprised.
No, I mean, I think Coach K had that in the bag.
Yeah.
And Johnny Dawkins was the leading scorer for Duke until Reddick came around.
And the head coach that should have taken the Zion team down in round 2, UCF, they should have won that game. But
with that, and where did he go originally? Did he go to Stanford?
Research here.
For some reason, Stanford stuck in my head.
He did, yeah. Stanford then went to UCF.
And he kind of turned the Stanford organization around there.
Got them to the Sweet 16 in 2014.
Was that with the Lopez brothers?
I feel like they were before that. I don't know. Then you had Houston head coach Kelvin Sampson interview for the Milwaukee Bucks job. I don't think this will happen, but it's certainly interesting. Houston going to be in the Big 12 this year, so maybe he doesn't want to do the transition, but I doubt it. They got LJ Cryer. They got a good – they'll be good. Major League Baseball, Cardinals catcher Wilson Contreras returns to catching duties. On Monday he started, and it seems like they finally realized, hey, maybe we're better when he's catching because we could have another extra hitter that isn't Andrew Kisner, who was hitting the ball pretty well. But
yeah, though I saw him catch last night, and
he did.
He threw a laser beam to second base.
He did catch last night, but he's not catching tonight. So we're going to see a lot more of Contreras behind the plate. The Cardinals have won 7 of their last 9. Their record's still terrible, but they're only like 5 games out of the wild card. So
yeah, I mean, you got Edmund back in the lineup, Brendan Donovan.
Arenado starting to hit.
I'm still not a fan of Burleson.
I think he's good in spots against righties sometimes, but I think their best outfield is probably some combination of Nootbaar, Carlson, and Donovan or something.
Yeah, I'd like for them to recall
Walker.
Yeah,
I hope they do soon, but I don't think he's been hitting the ball very well in AAA, so who knows? Dodgers pitcher Dustin May leaves the game with right elbow pain. That can't be good. This is, remember, already a team without Walker Buehler for the entire year because of an injury. But the Dodgers have won 15 of their last 18. So,
and May, he's had arm trouble for years now.
Yeah, this will be interesting to see how they replace him if he's out, which right elbow pain doesn't sound good.
No, and then the Rangers activate Seager after a 31-game absence.
I had no idea he was out. Not going to lie.
I didn't either because you don't really hear much about the Rangers.
No. If he was with the Dodgers and he was out for 31 games, I would probably know about that. But
player of the week.
Yeah, I'm going to go.
Before you get there, you got old Spencer Strider. Please appreciate how insane it is to have a starting pitcher striking out more than 15 batters per 9 inning. This season in 7 starts, his ERA is 2.7. The ERA plus is 161. His WHIP is 0.93. Opponent average 0.162. Ks per 9 innings 15.1.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I would say he's maybe the best pitcher in the game right now.
If somehow the Cardinals could work out a deal to get him,
well, that'll just never happen.
No. Flaherty's starting to turn around.
Yeah, that was good. Hopefully he can continue that. My player of the week is Pittsburgh Pirates starter Mitch Keller, who pitched 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 13 strikeouts, no walks. And the game before this, he went 9 innings, 4 hits, no runs, like 11 strikeouts. So,
yeah, I almost went with Ohtani because of his performance the other day with his pitching and hitting, almost hitting the cycle, just missing a double. But I went with Cardinal third baseman Nolan Arenado, 11 for 25, 6 runs, 1 triple, 5 home runs, 13 RBIs, and 2 walks.
Yeah, he started turning around, which is exactly what they needed if they want to survive how bad they started. All right. NHL. The Arizona Coyotes will play at Arizona State still with the Mullet Arena at least for another season, despite the results of their Tempe entertainment venue thing to play there was rejected by the public. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the future of the Coyotes is. I think they'll probably play it at Mullet Arena, Arizona State for at least another year, maybe 2. And then I think the NHL's got to figure out, are we going to keep them in Arizona or are we going to relocate them to like Houston or Kansas City or – yeah, I don't know. It's a tough spot. I feel bad for the fans because I do think that the Coyotes have a pretty solid fan base overall.
And playing at a college, most colleges you can't drink at.
Plus it's only like 9,000 people.
So then you can't drink at it and you're limited seating. But you need to be a better team to really worry about the seating.
I suppose. Well, they did do a pretty good job with it, though, last year.
And then U.S. beat Austria for their 4th straight win in the Worlds.
Yeah, I mean, the team that they have there is fun to watch. They get a lot of young talent there. Wouldn't be surprised to see them continue to win there.
Is what's-his-name playing for Canada in this?
Who is what's-his-name? Bedard?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't think so. Maybe. I don't think he is, but I could be wrong.
But Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah. Eastern Conference second round. Panthers beat the Leafs in 5. Hurricanes beat the Devils in 5. Hurricanes-Panthers game 1 is tomorrow night.
And in the Western Conference, the Knights beat the Oilers in 6. And the Stars beat the Kraken in 7. So you got Vegas versus Stars Friday.
Yep. The NHL dragging their feet, taking forever to get this going, but whatever. Can't expect anything different from them. All right, let's go over to the betting.
I went 8-2 last week. I was 2-0 in the NBA, 2-0 in hockey, 2-2 in baseball, and then I hit on 2 golfers. I hit on Siwoo Kim to finish top 5. He tied for second at 22 under, and then I hit on Steven Yeager, top 20. He shot 18 under, tied 11th.
Yeah, I did not do well.
What does that mean?
That means 3-6. One golfer, which was a top, had Ryan Palmer top 40. So it was bad.
What do you finish?
I think he finished like T8, so it was pretty easy. No stress, but I plan on dominating the golf picks this week.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, let's do the NBA playoff game.
Yeah, I got the Nuggets minus 5.5 over the Lakers.
I got the Lakers plus 5.5. I think the Lakers make it 1-1 going back to Crypto.com Arena. Love saying that. Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah, I got the Panthers plus 120 over the Hurricanes.
I'll take the Canes minus 140 there. MLB.
I got the Orioles minus 125 over the Angels, the Marlins minus 155 over the Nationals, the Rays minus 105 over the Mets, the White Sox minus 140 over the Guardians, and the Yankees plus 110 over the Blue Jays.
Give me the Mets minus 115 over the Rays, the Marlins minus 155 over the Nationals, White Sox minus 140 over the Guardians, Yankees plus 110 at the Blue Jays, and I'll take the Cardinals plus 125 against the Dodgers. Why not?
It is Waino versus Julio.
Cardinals can hit lefties. I'll take it. All right, PGA Championship, Oak Hill Country Club, East Course, Rochester, New York. Who you got?
Twin, I got Scotty Scheffler plus 700, John Rahm plus 800, and Xander Schauffele plus 1,800.
I will take Rory McIlroy plus 1,600, Cameron Young plus 3,000, Victor Hovland plus 3,500.
Top 5, I took Brooks Koepka plus 450.
I'll take Tony Finau plus 400.
Top 10, I took Tyrell Hatton plus 330.
I will take friend of the show, Max Homa, plus 350.
Top 20, I took Jason Day plus 115.
I will take Sam Burns plus 200.
Top 40, I took Bryson DeChambeau plus 105.
I will take the lefty, Phil Mickelson, plus 140. First PGA Championship appearance since winning 2 years ago. And he finished runner-up at the Masters. So maybe he's either going to miss the cut or be top 10 probably. So we'll see.
10? Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
why didn't you put him in your top 10 then?
I think the top 40 is a good slot for him. Yeah, all right. That'll do it for us. We'll be back next week for number 112. We'll discuss who won the PGA Championship and why Max Homa won his first major at Oak Hill. And a lot of other stuff to cover next week, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Deuces.